Thankfully, I do have a topic of what we're going to talk about today, because I actually have a movie for book club. I've only seen one movie since we last spoke, and it was a pretty good one. My wife and I saw Bad Times at the El Royale, which I purchased at McKay's for $4.95, and I actually really enjoyed this movie. I went in with pretty much no expectations. I knew nothing about it. I knew absolutely nothing about this movie outside of the name of the writer-director. I knew that this was written and directed by Drew Goddard. I know Drew Goddard wrote Cloverfield and wrote he wrote Cabin in the Woods. I don't know if he's directed anything. I'll look it up later. If he has, I haven't seen it. I wasn't aware of it. I know that he's also the creator of Netflix's Daredevil, and I think they brought him back for the reboot. I didn't really see either of those, but I did see this movie. Now, I will go ahead and tell you that this is going to be a spoiler-free review. I feel like if I'm going to rip something to shreds, I will go more in depth as to, the things I didn't like, and those may be plot elements. But if it's a movie that I honestly really enjoy, I'm not going to give you the full details of the plot, so this way you can go and you can watch it with your own opinion. Does that seem fair? Great. So, Bad Times at the El Royale. The trailer makes it feel like it's going to be one of those Agatha Christie and Then There Were None murder mysteries. There is a mystery at play, but it is not the thrust behind the plot. We do have 7 different characters at this location. It is very interesting seeing how the different characters play off of each other. I will go ahead and say John Hamm is great in this. Jeff Bridges is great in this. Chris Hemsworth. Okay, I didn't know he had this in him. I've not really seen Hemsworth in much outside of Thor. I haven't yet seen Furiosa. And it was really great seeing him in this. He really does just come in, and he comes in at 10. Like, he comes in loaded for bear, ready to go, and he really is exceptional in this. I will say Cynthia Erivo is really good in this. I'd say she's a million times better in this than she is in Wicked. You all can string me up for that opinion, because I really think this made me feel excited to see her in something else. I'd say this is almost like finding a Tarantino film. Like, this is very 90s Tarantino adjacent. It's not gonna reinvent the wheel, okay? But I did really enjoy this movie, and I would watch it again any day of the week. If my friends came over and they said, let's watch the best movie you've seen so far this year, it might be this one. This one's really in the running for one of the best films I have seen this year. I gave it between a 4 and a 4.5. I think I ended up rating it a 4.5 on Letterboxd because I just kept thinking about it. But it's got some issues with it that I think really keep it at around a 4 out of 5. I don't want to spoil it, but I'll say that this movie doesn't wrap everything up in a bow, but it also doesn't leave all of the elements ambiguous. And I really think this is where this movie has its failing, is by it gives you some of the answers, but it doesn't give you all of the answers. In this type of movie, there are some things where, hey, if we got no answers, there are some elements that could be the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. But if you give me some, it's like, why not just tell me all of them? Why not just give me all of the answers? You know what I mean? But still, I would highly recommend this film. Jeff Bridges gives an exceptional performance. The writing is really good. There are some really small performances. Nick Offerman's in this movie for maybe 2 minutes, and he's really good in it. I kept thinking that Lewis Pullman, Bill Pullman's son, I kept thinking he was Griffin Newman, and I had to keep reminding myself that you would know if Griffin was in this movie. I bought this with trade credit for $4.95, and this one is not going in the McKay's bag. This one is going to go on my shelf, and I look forward to watching it again in the future. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Now this trailer that came on this disc, there was only one of them. So, it's like, hey, I'm excited to see trailers. Oh, but boo-hoo, there was only one of them. The trailer was for Widows. I can't wait to see Widows. I know some people I follow put it in their best films of the decade list. I can't wait to get to it. I know the trailer makes it look incredible. The performances look really good. It's got a great cast list. I've not seen that many Steve McQueen films. I've only seen 12 Years a Slave. I need to get to see more of them, but I cannot wait to see Widows, especially based on the trailer that played on this disc. That's why I love trailers. If you want to bring something to the forefront of my memory, get it at the top of my McKay's list for the next trip, if it's a trailer on a disc, oh, it's going to be at the top of that list if I'm interested in it. I actually have a topic for us this week. My topic for this week is when it comes to importing movies. Now, I will tell you I have a couple imports in my collection, but all of those imports are the same type of import. I have not yet had to purchase a region-free Blu-ray player. For those who are unaware, back in the era of DVD, they decided that due to various rights issues, different companies own different movies in different territories, and they hated the idea of somebody going to a different territory, buying a movie at a very low price comparatively from a distributor who didn't own the rights overseas, and then coming back home and being able to play that movie. Because they said, no, you can't just buy that movie somewhere else and take it back home and play it. Now, of course, they didn't have the foresight to see that the more region restrictions you put on something, the more openly people are going to bootleg, and they could not have foreseen, torrents and digital piracy all the way back in the early 90s, and they were figuring out the DVD format. But DVD was 8 regions spread across the world, okay? 8 different regions. Now that's a lot. I'm gonna put the map up here. There's a lot of various things that get broken up in that region. And that's also factoring in things like the difference between PAL and NTSC, the video standards, the refresh rates. Everything was a lot more difficult in the DVD era. Which is why I'll be glad to tell you that in the era of Blu-ray, there's not 8 regions. There's 3. A, B, and C. Now, A is the Americas for the majority, which is handy. I go to Canada, I go to Mexico, I pick up a movie, it'll work in my home player, no problem. But then you see what else is floating around there in that A standard. Japan, North Korea. Why is North Korea on the standard? I don't think their populace is allowed to just go buy movies. But I know if somehow, some way I dropped a Blu-ray over North Korea, there's the possibility that that might work, according to the region codes. There's a major issue between the 3 region standard. And that's that if I want to pick up any movie from the UK, UK is region B, which is a problem, especially when you've got so many boutique labels being UK focused. Your Arrow Video. If you look for an Arrow Video online, you have to be very particular that that Arrow release is not the UK release. If it's the UK release, it is UK Region B coded. It will not work on your US player. Now, that doesn't mean that everything from overseas is going to be Region B, as I'm going to show you here in a minute. Because I have a couple imports in my collection. Now, the first movie I want to talk about is the first import that I ever had in my collection. Before Shout Factory put out the re-release of the Wallace & Gromit collection, the cheapest way you could watch the Wallace & Gromit collection on Blu-ray was this out-of-print US release that was very expensive comparatively. Whereas, you could also go to a place like Amazon and purchase this collection right here. This collection is the complete 30 Cracking Years Wallace and Gromit collection. This includes the 3 main shorts, Grand Day Out, Wrong Trousers, and A Close Shave. This also includes A Matter of Loaf and Death. Now this release has some problems for an American viewer. Now don't worry, if you're buying and you buy this release without the slip, it's the exact same cover. Don't worry, you can still watch A Grand Day Out, Wrong Trousers, and A Close Shave, no problem. You can watch it on any Region A player. Absolutely no problem. You cannot watch A Matter of Loaf and Death. So again, we're talking about the finicacies of video formats. Matter of Loaf and Death plays at 50 hertz. Since it plays at 50 hertz, most American players have no idea what that means. Most American players will error out, and you will not be able to watch it on your player. Now don't worry, if you copy this over using a drive to your PC or other devices, the video will play just fine. It will be 50 hertz as opposed to 60, because I guess the release of the other 3 is more of a worldwide standard, and A Matter of Loaf and Death had only aired in the UK at that point. This is a UK release Blu-ray, so maybe that's what the problem was. But I don't have that problem because I don't really watch A Matter of Loaf and Death. If I'm gonna sit down for some classic Wallace and Gromit, I'm watching the 3 main shorts. Or I'm watching the 2005 film. This is a release that I will probably be swapping out in the future. Now I won't end up getting that Shout Factory release since it's got, you know, the AI upscaling and ruins a lot of the more particulate details. I want to get one of the releases that has more of the bonus content that's kind of fallen by the side over the years, but this technically is a region-free release, even though you will see the UK standard, you know, triangle PG rating. This release has nothing on the back relating to what region it's supposed to be played in. Now, let's talk about a couple other things. Let's talk about another reason why someone like me has ended up with some import films over the years. And that, yes, is just like with Wallace and Gromit, it can be entirely a matter of cost. When I was, you know, looking to spruce up my collection a couple years ago, I wanted to buy Fright Night. And Fright Night, classic movie, 5 out of 5, love Fright Night. Fright Night had just gotten released in 4K. 4K release sold out immediately, and then people started buying the Blu-ray again, and the Blu-ray went up in price. And it went from being around in my range to being $20 or more. And I typically don't like to spend $20 on a movie. About $15 is generally my max. Like I told you all in that previous video of mine, I like to put horse blinders on. I really do not want to, you know, spend all of my disposable income on this hobby. Because I like to buy other things, let alone just have some extra money lying around, especially today. So I was able to pay a visit to Orbit DVD on a trip. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Orbit is kind of renowned on the internet as being the best boutique DVD and video store. They're located right in Asheville, North Carolina, and they will ship nationwide. And they carry it all. They carry imports, they carry pre-orders of boutiques, they carry just standard releases, new and used, they carry some video games. They're a pretty good store. But I guess I was just in the wrong headspace when I walked in there because I was immediately overwhelmed. Maybe I just hadn't eaten enough that day. Maybe I was just too tired when we went. But I went in there and I was immediately overwhelmed. I said, oh, I need to buy something and get out of here. I want to support this place, but I'm kind of having a little bit of a panic right now. But I knew from their website that they had one thing in particular I was looking for, which is a used German release of Fright Night. Now, they were nice enough to go ahead and slap a big region-free sticker on there. But you can see right there that this is the German text on the release. You can see right there the big German, this is a 16. Now Germany is situated all the way over there in Region B. But this release is entirely region free. Plays in American players, absolutely no issue. You're gonna have to do some research before you import. Sometimes you can get used to this company puts movies out region free. Other times you're gonna have to get used to maybe saying, hey, I'm gonna just take a gamble on this. Now generally, I don't want to say this and I don't want to, write this in stone unless it changes. Umbrella releases tend to be region free. Maybe they put some out that are region coded, but this is the Umbrella release of the Blob remake. And I will tell you, I bought this for one reason and one reason only, which was cost. I wanted that Shout Factory release, but during 2020, when a lot of places ran low on stock, there was a brief window where I wanted to watch The Blob, and the Shout Factory Blu Ray had gone temporarily out of print. Now, it wasn't a rights issue, just Amazon was out of stock. It raised a red flag, and I said, if I want to buy The Blob, I gotta find another release. And I ended up with the Umbrella release, which is region free. There are certain things you want to keep in mind. If you want to collect imports just for price reasons, have at it. But you need to make sure, do some prior research. Maybe go to Blu-ray.com and see if anybody's reported any issues with this in their player. We're going to talk about some other oddities I got over here in my import pile. The next thing I want to talk about is, what if you wanted to watch a movie, but you weren't allowed to? Now, rights issues are all over the place, especially as more and more companies, collapse into bigger and bigger companies. There's a lot of rights issues that can go by the wayside. Now, for many, many, many years, the only way you could watch True Lies was on DVD, and if you were really wanting a 1080 release of True Lies, you were watching it on DVHS. That was the best quality release. You either had the interlaced HD VHS tape, or you had the DVD release. True Lies skipped the Blu-ray format entirely, and it was not available to stream. There'd be news articles. Briefly, just like with The Abyss, True Lies would pop up on a streaming service, and everybody would say, go watch it, go rent it, watch True Lies. And then James Cameron came out and said, hey guys, after many, many years of saying I'm working on it, I have finally signed off on a remaster of True Lies and The Abyss, which made me very happy. I wanted to rewatch True Lies, and I had never seen The Abyss. They also put out a re-release of Aliens in 4K. This was well after the Disney purchase of Fox, so people like myself were saying, we never thought this was coming. And then it hit streaming before the disc release, and people started releasing stills. And me and a bunch of everybody else said, oh no, they didn't. The release James Cameron had signed off on was simply AI upscales of his classic films, and they looked terrible.
This phase between AI over-sharpening and soft blurriness from one second to the next. Features like eyelids bizarrely cut through out-of-focus shots with razor clarity.
True Lies was shot on film, okay? And when you shoot on film, you get grains. And what happens when you run anything through an AI upscaler? You say, make it look better. First thing it's gonna do is look for any inconsistencies. So it removed all the film grain. But with that film grain, it removed all the texture in people's skin, and now everybody looks like wax figures. And before I knew about the actual proper release of True Lies, I had seen something on Amazon. And this is a bit of a weird release. And then this came out. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna pull the trigger on that weird release. Which is why I have the Italian release of True Lies. Just like with my German release over there. The front and the back is entirely in Italian. The menu is in Italian, and the primary audio track is Italian. Thank God for Blu-ray pop-up menus and the ability to change audio tracks. The English track is on here, and the movie looks great. Now, it's not a proper retouch. It's one of those releases where nobody's entirely sure as to the legality of it. You know, who put this out? What release of the film is this? No one's entirely sure, but I can tell you one thing. This release has skin texture. This release hasn't been AI upscaled. This release is fine. It's great. It's better than the DVD. It's better than the HD VHS. And if I want to watch True Lies, I have it on my shelf, and I can watch it whenever. But you know, you might still be able to find this. I think it cost me $20, and I said, hey, I'll pay for it because I want my movies to look like movies. I want my films to look like films. But if you're the lay person, you can watch True Lies on any streaming service, and that may not bother you. True Lies is available on all services for a paid rental. Watch it anywhere you want on any device. That's fine. That's you. Me? I want that 35mm. I want that skin texture. I want that beauty of the inconsistency in the frame that only film can bring. Now, in the pilot episode of this show, I showed you all the James Bond photo album over there. But it literally is designed like a family photo album. Like someday someone's gonna say, what's Gray up to? And they're gonna think I'm flipping through, you know, family memories. And here I am flipping through the Roger Moore era. Like I said last time, this is not the complete collection. Now you can see 1983 and 1985. Here's the problem. 1983 should have a second slot here. 1983, there were two James Bond films. We had the official one with Roger Moore, and then we had the interesting one. 1983's Never Say Never Again. Long story short, essentially, a man owned the rights to Thunderball, separate from the rest of the James Bond series. He owned Thunderball, and with that, he joined with the James Bond production team, Eon Productions, and made Thunderball. But then, many years later, he wanted to make another James Bond film. And he owned the rights to one of the James Bond books. So he remade Thunderball, and not only did he remake Thunderball, okay? There's an unofficial, official James Bond film. We're not talking about the other Casino Royale. This one's a lot more interesting. Because 1983, Eon Productions releases their official James Bond film, Octopussy. And Orion, the Schlockmeisters, Orion, release Never Say Never Again, but who's playing James Bond? Well, surely Roger Moore's not showing up in both of them, especially if one of them is unofficial. No. Sean Connery plays James Bond. They got Connery out of James Bond retirement to play James Bond in a James Bond film that's a remake of a James Bond film he was already in. If you're looking at this, you can see the English text on this, and you can also see some Japanese text on here. Come back to that in a second. Through various rights holdings and different company foldings, Eon Productions and MGM ended up purchasing the rights to this film entirely. And then when they were releasing James Bond movies piecemeal, yada yada yada, this got an HD release on Blu-ray. It was on DVD through MGM, and then through a different company, I think 20th Century Fox ended up putting this out, based on who got the rights for what. They put it out on Blu-ray. This film has not been re-released on Blu-ray. This release in America retails for between $70 and $130, used and new, to watch one single film that's already been released. No re-releases. But I wanted to see it. Now, don't worry, if you want to, you can rent this film. You can rent it, it's available on all services. They haven't removed this movie, you can find it. But I've got problems. I've got a curse, as I like to say. One day soon, I plan on watching all of the James Bond films in order. And I don't have to worry about hunting one down, especially if it's in weird rights limbo. And I don't stream movies. So I did some digging. And I found a Japanese website. And I purchased this film used from Japan. Used? This movie cost me $15.54, including shipping, including conversion rates, including everything, $15.54. It came in 3 days from Japan. You want to talk about carbon footprint? I thought this was going to take weeks. This came in 3 days. I've ordered things domestically that didn't come in 3 days, even when they said they were supposed to come in 2. Now this movie, as you can see, all of the box in the back is entirely in Japanese. But you're thinking, you said you got this from Japan. Japan is Region A. Region A plays in American players, no problem. This disc has no problems in my player. Absolutely wonderful. Whenever I get to this, I can watch this. No one's gonna care about the story but me. Same story. For my boutique that I collect, I have a 3D television in my office. I watch 3D Blu Rays, and I'll be the first to tell you, about 90% or more of 3D releases are region free. Which is why you can go to a place like Amazon and purchase releases that never made it to the States, and you don't have to worry about them not playing in your American players. Spider-Verse looks amazing in 3D. It is a step above watching it in 2D. But what if you end up with a release that can't be played in your home player? Now, I will say I dropped the ball on this one. I bought a movie for this video with the intention of it not working. There's a movie that legally right now you cannot purchase. There is a movie right now you cannot legally purchase, stream, find new. Legally, you can't watch this movie. Now this movie is not obscure. This movie was nominated for awards. This movie was well known in the 80s. This movie was directed by a big name director at the time. And that movie is Cocoon. If you Google Cocoon on Blu-ray, you will find a handful of news releases and articles talking about how Cocoon is the reason why you should not sell your movies. Because they put Cocoon out in America many years ago, and it is sold out. It is stupidly high on the used market, and you can't find it easily. Due to rights limbo, the entire Fox library is owned by Disney, and they kind of, put the head on the chopping block and said, we don't care about the Fox library. But I never got to see Cocoon. I wanted to see Cocoon. And I saw that there was a Blu-ray new in stock on Amazon. And the reviews are low. The reviews are very low for this release. And I bought it specifically so that it wouldn't work. I had two options. I could buy it from Amazon Germany, and I could buy it from Amazon UK. Now, I was going to buy it from Amazon UK, but Amazon UK was going to come while I was out of town. So I said, fine, Amazon Germany says it's going to get here 2 days earlier. Fine. So I bought this from Amazon Germany. Prime. Came in a week. Not going to be 3 days, but it came in a week. And I popped this into my player. The German release of Cocoon on Blu-ray is region-free. I don't think people have discovered that yet. If you watch this video, if you want to see Cocoon, you can buy it from Amazon Germany. I don't know about current tariffs or anything, but I will tell you, this release is region-free. Has absolutely no issues in my player. I can't wait to see Cocoon. I've wanted to see this movie for years. And this movie got re-released in Germany in 2019, based on the date on the back of the box. I can't wait to see Cocoon. Now, I will make an update to this. I will make an update to this video. Because all the movies I talked about here ended up being region-free. When I go on a trip in the next couple months, I plan on stopping by Orbit with the intention of purchasing a Region B film. Because I want to talk to you all in person about all the different ways you can circumvent region methods legally and legally adjacent. But this video is mainly to talk to you all about, just because a movie may not be available in your region does not mean you can't have it in your hands. But with that, this has been Book Club for Movies, and I'll see you all later. I gotta feed the cat. Have a good week, everyone.